So we have our speaker now that's coming up is Karl Duncan, and he's going to give us an update on what's been going on with DAPL and Water is Life. So, okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Karl Duncan, and I'm a Rikara, Hidatsa, Mandan, and San Carlos Apache. My mother comes from North Dakota, and she was born in a town called Elbow Woods, North Dakota. It doesn't exist anymore because the Army Corps of Engineers built a dam, and now the reservation was flooded. And so she comes from that background of water, and how water is a very powerful force, that it moves communities, that it can save communities. I've never been able to see where my mother grew up, the hospital that she was born in. I can only see it in pictures. Her father was Sam Dancing Bull, and he had to change his last name because he wanted to join the United States Army. And the Army said, you know, you can't keep your Indian name, you have to change your Indian name. So he changed his Indian name, his last name of Dancing Bull, to Myers. His brother also wanted to enlist, and they changed his name also, and his last name is Jackson now. So but back then it was, and it still is today with Native people, it's an honorable thing to stand up and fight for your community. And even when I was growing up after high school, I thought of joining the Marines. I always seen at powwows and at different gatherings the honor and respect that we gave to our warriors. My father's from San Carlos Apache Reservation. That reservation also was built around the idea of water, that it was a remote place that was so far away from other water sources that they could keep the last renegades of the Apaches there at that particular fort. Later on, they also built a dam there and flooded the reservation also. My father's father also is a veteran, and he fought in the Korean War, received 3 battle stars, and my family, I grew up on the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community in what is near the Phoenix metropolitan area, also another city founded on water. The city was built upon the actual canals of the ancient tribes there, the Huugam. And they built canals, and when the city was being settled, the settlers actually just poured concrete into those canals. And today, the city of Phoenix still uses those waterways to route water to the different people there in the city. The city Phoenix, that's why it has its name Phoenix, because it rose from the ashes of that ancient tribe that was there. I come from a family that I have 1 sister and 5 brothers. My mother's Rikara name is Makes Chief's Woman. My Rikara name is Soaring Eagle, and I received that in North Dakota. In North Dakota, I have all my family, my cousins there, and the reality of their life has changed over a very short period of time. With the idea and the technology of fracking, they've gone in there, went to families and asked them to sign papers, and they would get a lot of money if they would just sign that paper. And my family over there, you know, a lot of my cousins would always want to come back with my family when we go visit North Dakota. We come to Arizona because there wasn't much activity going on there. There was a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs. It was hard to make do with what you had. And so when something like that came along, somebody saying, you know, you can buy a new house, you can buy a new car, you know, you can go travel. It's a hard thing to face. And so right now, Fort Berthold is inundated with trucks whizzing by back and forth on small dirt roads. It's unsafe for the people there. The fracking, the water source, Lake Sacagawea right there. You know, who knows what it's doing to the water there. The Missouri River. And so now we have these strange, complex, and tough decisions that Native communities are faced with. We all face, you know, tough choices in life. Here in Santa Fe, there's a history of a mix of cultures, of religions, of choices, of doing our best to do with the situation we're dealt. And just 100 feet from here is the Santa Fe River, and 100 miles from here is Standing Rock. And we fight to keep our little Santa Fe River clean, and we fight to preserve it and to try to even bring it back to life. You know, we try to fill it with fish, and we have family days to come there and fish in the water. We're fortunate to have a community that works with us in this area. And Standing Rock, as with my family and their history, another decision was made without them. Even though they may have voiced what they felt was wrong, even though they voiced, this is going to hurt us, this is going to affect our lives here, and we have no other place to go because this is where our homeland is. But they're still going to want to build that pipeline underneath the Missouri. Time and time again, choices are made, decisions are made without our consent, without the good faith of what's written down on paper that says, we will work together. If you give up this, then we'll work with you on this. In the future, we will work together. But time and time again, those papers and those promises are continually broken. We all have the same values, whether it's Native people, whether it's the Spanish that came, whether it was later the American government that came. We all have values that are based around community. We all want what's best for our children. We all want to be happy and healthy people. I think we need to continually come back to those values of where those values came from. For Native people, you know, we look at the designs, the songs and the dances, and they remind us all the time of why you should appreciate something, why you should appreciate your mother, your father, why you should appreciate the rain, why you should appreciate the earth. All those songs and the dances and the prayers and the layers and layers and layers upon words and designs, they all are supposed to remind you. You surround yourself with art. They call it art today. But before, there were reminders. There were reminders of on that pot, if there's a water design, it's because you're going to be reminded about the importance of water. You're going to be reminded about a story. My dad tells me a story about Turkey. Long ago when there was a flood, and the floodwaters covered the whole earth, and all the animals went to the high mountain, and Turkey was struggling to keep up. And so his tail feathers dipped in the foam of the fresh floodwaters. And today, that's a reminder of the power of water. The rainbow, my father tells me, is a doorway for the rain to come. That when it rains, you don't play outside because it's so sacred. You're supposed to stay out of the rain. All these stories, the designs, the colors, they all teach us of our values. And I think we need to come back to that. I'd like to ask the audience and everybody else, ask, where did I come from? What are my ancestors' stories? What are my family stories? What are those stories that bring out the values of family, that bring out the things that make it personal to you, that would make you fight for something, that would make you protest, that would make you march, that would make you divest. And those things that are part of you and that we share with each other, we can say, hey, your story is not that different from mine, and your values aren't that different from mine, and that we can work together